Okay, welcome everybody to the Diamonds Forever call every other Saturday at 1 p.m. Central. This is July 20th, 2013, and we have a phenomenal call today. We do have Captain here today and me, Elizabeth. Judy will not be with us today. She's off in her busyness,
Elizabeth,
but she will.
Elizabeth?
Yes.
We do have a third moderator. I don't know who that is, but you may want to check your the board. And find
yeah,
out
that's our special guest.
Oh, okay.
Those are our guests today.
Okay.
Yes. So we do have a good lineup today. I do have a big subject I want to get into. That's a fascinating subject regarding our personal changes in all this world reset, this golden age, this turning out right side out the way we should have been in the first place. So we'll get into that. I do have a few things, and then we have remember a couple calls back, you guys, we taught the tools of the prayer of one and the tool of the eye movement back and forth when you're in a high emotional state, depressed, angry, joyful. You just look back and forth without moving your neck, and that brings it to your full brain capacity, and it helps you go through that and heal that. The prayer one and the eye movement, and we talked about the Andrew declarations, the unplugging from this propaganda, brainwashing matrix. That was a couple calls back. If you'd like to listen to that, I don't remember the reference number. It's probably like 55, 56, 54 in there. Anyway, I asked then, and I forgot last call, to see if anybody had any testimonies, any experiences from them saying the prayer of one in a circumstance or doing the eye movement or the declaration prayers. And I do have two friends, Tracy and Michael, that will give their testimony today regarding the prayer, the law of one. And if there's anybody, and then we'll take people from the audience if they have any testimonies really quick. So just a little housekeeping. There is some awesome things going on. If you go to NaceraNewsBlogspot.com, John did post some things I sent on Friday and Saturday. And the easiest way to find them, if you have a computer, if you don't have a computer, call me. I will help you get that. Or if there's a lot of asking me, I may record it onto the phone line so you can hear it. If you go to NaceraNewsBlogspot.com, go to the left-hand column and go past the popular post, and then there's all the postings of every post on that blog spot. And these were just posted in the last 2 days. So one, the sentence you'll see is awakening deep information that will help you. Now those are they're included in their 4 or 5 links are the 3 shows that I'm getting my information off of for today's extraordinary call, because I can't give all the details. But the detail I will give is very extraordinary, but there's way, 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 way more extraordinary details that you want to know beforehand that we're walking into. Yes. The other one is, number 2, I saw that, I didn't send this one, is the Trayvon, in the court trial that we just had. And President Obama, surprise visit on the press conference yesterday, walking in, and the press was surprised and saying what he said. And maybe Captain will talk about that in a few minutes. The other one that's posted is, it'll say, John, here is more info to the woman in New Zealand. Now, a woman in New Zealand, basically, in a nutshell, unplugged from the system, literally by sending forms and written forms to every propaganda system, court, and everything else within the system, and then went to the bank and got some of her value back, her energy back that the bad guys have been stealing from us. all this time. And you'll understand a little bit more about that as we get into the big stuff today. Anyway, in a nutshell, she wrote she wanted $15 million value back from the bank. And the bank did post it into her account, but then put a hold on it illegally 24 hours later. And we'll get into the detailed logistics. But if you want to listen to it firsthand and understand it, basically it's very, very big news because it is on a little hold and there's some forms that are going to be put in. And anyway, there's one more step for her to get that value. And if she gets that value, it's very significant. We'll get our value too, if you're willing. Anyway, you'll understand more as you study it. So I'm going to have you go study that. And you'll find it under John. Here is more info to the woman in New Zealand. There's lots of info there, plus you'll listen to the tape, an hour-long tape. The other one is I saw that the article we read on Thursday, At the Precipice of a Brave New World, and that's the title you'd look for. And the other one is More Resignations, updated list, and that's very good, 158 in the last year or two, and that's all posted on John's site. And that's what Captain wants to talk about. So let's just get this out of the way really quick, Captain. Let's talk about the resignations. Did you see that? Because I know you said you wanted to talk about arrests, I guess, and the resignations they all have to do it, and then the Trayvon thing with President Obama. Let's talk about those two really quick.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, let's take the arrest. That list that just came out just recently, those are just not resignation people. When they say resignation, they really mean arrest, okay? It's just a nice way of disguising what is really going on behind the scenes. And like I said earlier, all is quiet on the Western Front. And as you well know, our military and some of our Galactic brothers and sisters are working behind the scenes to get this thing done. Now, I know that a lot of times when people think that it's moving way too slow, matter of fact, we're moving light years ahead of everything else. And you're going to see this manifest very, very soon. I just want to say that there is some talk about Mr. Jamie Dimon of Chase Morgan Bank as a strong possibility that this gentleman will be stepping down and he'll be in handcuffs. Now, I've been told this yesterday. I got a personal phone call about his resignation and stepping down from that bank, and that's huge. That's a big takedown of one of the giants. And as you well know, those who are invested in the Iraqi dinar, I just wanted to say that also I'm hearing that some things are moving with the worldly value of all the currencies. Now, from what I understand, there's 192 currencies that will be revalued, for what I understand. So be prepared, because this may happen at any time. I also want to let you guys know this. I don't know how very alert you are, but if you're on your computer, I know I was last week, and for the very first time, I had an EAS alert on my computer. I have never, ever seen that before on my computer. If you have, please let me know, because that's the first time I've ever seen it on the computer.
Yeah,
I've seen it plenty
Captain.
Times.
Yeah, and I want to say I heard Amethyst on the Truth Call just this week say she was driving down the road and turned her radio on, and she heard an EMS test, and that's the first time she's heard it in a long time, too, on your computer.
Right, exactly. So
yeah, and then let me give you a real prominent testimony on that. Oh, like 3 years ago, remember, in the Intel world when they were talking there's going to be an EMS test nationwide, USA nationwide for the first time on a TV, and they did the test on TV at 1 p.m. Central. Well, I happened to be studying on my computer that day, not working at that time, and I just happened to turn on the TV. You know, that's spirit-guided. And there that test was. I said, oh, yeah, that's the test. They were talking about that in the Intel world. So I watched it, and the scroll over the top of the TV said, this is an emergency for the following counties. And I was thinking, oh, that's just going to say, Washington County, Dakota County, Hennepin County in Minnesota. It said, to my surprise, and I think this is the white knights that, good guys that kind of planted a seed in there. This is an emergency for, what's it called? For the District of Columbia. I said, what? District of Columbia, not Columbia, is it? It's Washington, D.C.
Columbia. Elizabeth, they let it slip. It was a slip. It was an accident. It wasn't supposed to be that. It's supposed to be in your county. And they said District of Columbia. And they should never said that. That was a slip of the tongue. Yeah,
but it was a planted seed. It was a
exactly.
sign and a wonder.
Absolutely.
It makes you wonder. I'll let you take over, Captain.
Okay, all right. And what happened, like I said, last week, it's the first time I've ever seen it done by computer. I've seen it done by radio. I've seen it done by television, but never seen it done by computer. And what I saw on my computer, it was completely dark, a black screen, and all of a sudden, yellow lines went right across the screen, saying this is an emergency. We will let you know, blah, 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 blah. I said, what? What's happening now? I mean, I was tuned in, I was listening, and they said this is a test, and in the near future, if this ever become an actual emergency, we will give you the latest instruction, blah, 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 blah. And I said, this is an example what is going to happen in the future. So be prepared that this can happen anytime between now and the 29th of July. I'm just letting you know, because the 29th of July, I said on our truth call, I said that all the planets are lining up, and they are definitely lining up. Not 9 planets, but actually 12 planets. And I also said that Jupiter will become the second sun, and that's exactly what's happening. All right, Elizabeth, I'm turning it back over to you, Elizabeth.
Okay, Captain, thank you. And then let me just add to that regarding the arrests and resignations. If you go on the NESARA Blogspot News, you'll see 158 resignations, and there's links of bankers and others, and there's links to each one of those to show you that it's true. But I propose, like I've said many a times, before we see the radical changes, and we'll talk more about that today, we're going to see a mass of people standing up like the 60s and 70s, and that is our free will unplugging from this propaganda system. And we're not going to do that till we're fully awake, most of us, and motivated and empowered. And we're getting there. We're almost there. But what I want to propose to you, that there's going to be many as we awaken. The ones that are already awake, we're awakening more. That we're going to see lots of mass media people stepping down and quitting. But they're not, because they already know what's going on. They don't you know that they have a conscience that, they know that they lie to the masses of people. But they know if they don't lie, painting a picture of fear and all that, they know if they don't lie, they're going to get fired from their job, and they got kids and a family. But so they'll need some support of us standing up in mass, and then they'll join the picket and cross the picket line and say no more. And those mass media people that are well known, that have thousands of followers, don't you think then the people that are just awakening will listen to these mass media people that are resigning and saying this is a bunch of a hoopla propaganda, we're been lying to you and I'm sorry, and they'll start their own mainstream media with the truth, the pure truth. And the same thing for the bankers. I think that's what's been happening in the banking realm. The bankers that are resigning that know what's going on, and their consciousness is driving them away from it. So they're resigning. And I say yes, the rest too that are, like Captain said, also. And also want to remind you regarding, the mass standing up, maybe that's going to be a trigger. That's going to be a trigger that you'll know that the event is close, that I'm going to talk about today. There's many multidimensional aspects to this event, many. And, the financial one is one. But in August, Captain, did you know this? And maybe you can add more to it. in August, there'll be maybe Michael knows the wording too. There's going to be a paperwork or something that runs out, like a court thing that runs out saying that these bankers in the mortgage fraud thing cannot be arrested. From now, I don't know when it happened, but till August, they can be arrested. They can be arrested for doing bad stuff. But nobody has really been arrested yet. But in August, that runs out. I hope we find out about that more clearly, because that shouldn't happen. These bad people like Jamie Dimon should be arrested. But in August, that runs out. That, whatever that's called, I don't remember. That runs out, so they can't be arrested. It's a court thing.
Are you saying the statute of limitation?
Yeah, something like that. Did you know that? Do you know anything more detail about that?
I never heard anything like. I have not heard anything like that at all, Elizabeth.
Well,
I just know
you have and I have. I'm just not saying it right. It has to do with all the mortgage fraud going on. But through all these investigations, the statute of limitation runs out August, and nobody's been arrested yet. The investigations are going on, but none of the big bankers have been arrested.
Well, Elizabeth, I don't know about that. I really don't, because I think that's more propaganda than anything. Okay, so Captain, we know that investigations of the mortgage fraud is going on. It's been an ongoing thing. That's why they got fined and had to pay a little bit back to people. But through all this investigation, nobody's been arrested. Wouldn't that be, if people understood that, wouldn't that make people mad? Anyway. Absolutely. I totally agree.
And stand up. Anyway, yeah. Okay. You still want to talk more, Captain?
Well, I do want to mention about President Obama made a surprise briefing speech yesterday at the podium, and I thought it was about time. It was about time that he spoken up and gave his experience as a young man coming up, and he too experienced prejudice, and now he's president of the United States. And at the same time too, I applaud him for his openness and his being honest about how certain races are being treated. And it's very unfortunate, because guess what, guys? We're going to get visitors from other planets. And when they come here, they're going to be different colors. They're going to be red, they're going to be green, they're going to be blue, they're going to be orange, but they're going to look just like us. Are we going to be prejudiced against them too? Something to think about, okay? So just think about, about all this silliness being divided among one another. It's a losing situation. It really is, guys. You really want to be in a winning situation? Because when I bleed, I'll bleed the same as you. My blood gives life to somebody else who's of a different nationality or different culture. My blood is a life-saving blood. Your blood is a life-saving blood too. We're all the same. So all this crap about, black and white and brown and yellow and red, and that's ridiculous. We're all from the same earth. And then we get visitors coming in from another planet. How are we going to treat them, guys? Just think about it. Remember what I said. It always goes back to love and how you treat one another. And we have an outsider coming in. How are you going to treat that outsider? Hopefully you will just say, welcome. That's what I'm going to say. All right, Elizabeth, turn it up to you.
Yes, Captain. And the President Obama, now, you guys can fully replay what he said in his speech, and it's all posted on the Sarah News blog spot under Trevon Could Have Been Me. That's the title, if you look on the left in all the articles. It's Trevon Could Have Been Me. And just a couple things about that. Do you really think, and I'm still staying neutral, but do you really think a president who, if you know about the dark side, who is under puppet master control, Now, he came out in this news press conference. Presidents don't ever usually do that. It's the guy with the glasses that gives the press update every day of the week. But he came out unannounced and surprised the media. I heard him gasping. Anyway, he came out with no script, and he spoke from his heart. Do you think a president that was controlled by controllers would do that? I don't think so. You know what? To me, that's a sign and a wonder, a sign that President Obama stepped out of this propaganda paradigm. He stepped out of his control from the puppet masters. He took a standing up. And maybe that's a sign of it's about here, our standing up in mass, our unplugging of our free will from this propaganda machine. And one time God told me in the bathtub when I was taking a bath, and this was like, I don't know, the beginning of, 6-7 months ago. As the CEO goes, so goes the USA. And I know he was talking about President Obama. So, sign and a wonder. Anyway, there was another thing with that. But anyway, have you ever seen any other president do that? Surprise on the press conference, if you guys follow that? It's really interesting. Okay. Let's change the dial now. And now I'm going to get some testimonies, and then we're going to go into the big stuff that I want to bring forward today. And I know Captain will want to add, too, from what he knows. So regarding the prayer of one and the tools that we taught a couple of weeks ago. So Tracy and Michael, would you like to come aboard? Now, Tracy and Michael, they're my friends. They live in Arizona. I live in Minnesota, but they used to live here. Tracy did. She moved to Arizona and, been on a path of awakening and awesome stuff. So *6, Tracy and Michael.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Hi, Michael. I can hear you, too.
Okay. I just want to start by saying what started to take place in the last month. Well, like a lot of us have all been going through a lot of changes, especially in this last year. Starting with December 21st, it just really, a lot of changes started happening. But it really, for us, a lot of changes really started to take place around March until now. And I guess that's because of, there's been a lot of movement in the planets and solstices happening. And I feel that's been a lot of it. Because I don't know a lot about this. I just know that we're awakening right now and learning as much as we can to understand what's happening.
Tracy?
Yes.
Let me just add one little thing there regarding, since you brought it up. I just learned recently, starting December 21st, and everybody was down and out because nothing happened, but it did happen. I'm learning, and you said it exactly right now out of your mouth. Starting December 1st on the solstice, and every solstice since, and we've had a lot of them, it's like a tick of the clock goes, and every solstice, the tick aligns us more and more to our dream time unity with everybody, our true dream time unity with everybody. And I'll explain that. You guys will understand by the time we hang up. It aligns us with it's taking us out of the propaganda dream time that the collectors, the controllers put us on, and every tick of a solstice starting December 21st takes us closer to our dream time unity together as the co-creators, the gods that we are. Don't you know ye are gods, says the Bible? Okay, go ahead.
So basically we had been visiting Sedona, Arizona, starting in January. We felt to go up there as much as we could since January. And so we would go up there and visit almost every month, if not twice a month, over the weekends. So we'd go from Phoenix to Sedona. And we would stay up there. We didn't know really why we felt drawn up there. We didn't know a lot about the energy. We just knew we could feel the energy, the love. And we would go up there, and we started connecting with people up there. And we started connecting with intuitives who could just totally, read what was going on with us. And we knew we were being drawn to connect with these people. So all of a sudden, as we did that and we'd go back home, we could feel the descent. We could feel, as we were leaving Sedona, we could feel a descent down into Phoenix, as if there's, more chaos going on in Phoenix than in Sedona because of the spiritual, difference in the climate, spiritual climate. Anyhow, we'd get back to Phoenix, and over the course of the next few weeks of being back home, we would feel upshift, is what I like to call it, things coming up in our lives that don't belong, third-dimensional type issues in our own selves coming up. And we didn't really understand how to clear those things away. We would try to understand it, and as we did, a lot of issues would start to go away in ourselves. But it would, some things, if you try to hold on to 3D, or you try to hold on to living, or holding on to things in the system that really aren't meant for your life, or things that you're doing that cause you to lie, or cause you, like jobs that cause you to lie, or anything like that, it seems like it just gets harder and harder to live that life as you're ascending. So by about June, my husband Michael suddenly felt just worn out it was like what some people call a crash. You get to the point where you just can't take it anymore, and you have to leave the place, your workplace or whatever, because you realize you've got to move on. He hit a point where he had to escape and leave and just get out of town because of the issues that were coming up in himself and his job, and he just wanted to get away from and go into, what God really has for him, what the universe really has for us. And so this really scared me. He left, and all of a sudden he owned his own law firm and had only one person working underneath him. All of a sudden everything just crashed.
Crazy.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Can I have Michael just give like a 2 or 3 minute summary of, if that's okay with Michael, if you're comfortable with that, about, Michael, you're a lawyer, and the people that have been studying the bad guys, or the controllers, know about the lawyer thing. But just give a brief summary of you being a lawyer, and then your feelings, your emotions that came up to make you want to unplug from that, if you would.
Sure, no problem, Elizabeth. In terms of practicing law, I did it for 18 years. I no longer wanted to be part of any system or any kind of work that was just almost feeding the beast. And so I felt like I was in a situation where I couldn't handle it anymore, and where you represent clients that want to present cases where there's falsehoods, and it would turn me into somebody that would be lying for clients and other things like that. And so I've been feeling an awakening to the point of where I started this ascension process of delivering me from things that weren't of God and weren't in the flow of just walking in light and love. And so I realized that the law firm was contributing. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have personal responsibility or anything like that. I do. But I also knew that continuing on the way I was going, I would have continued to do the things that I was doing. And so the only way that I saw to be out of the system or have the universe spit me out is to literally just quit. And I know there are resignations of people in the banking industry and other things like that with mortgage fraud and other things. But with my case, it was simply an awakening to the fact that I didn't like who I was. I didn't like what I was doing, and I didn't like the way I was treating people. And so it was a really humbling experience. But as you get humbled, you get freed from caring about appearances or caring about how you project your image. And so instead of looking at that, I was brought to a situation, to a place where I had, I mean, in 3D it would be called a total emotional breakdown. And when I did in the end of June, it just brought me to a place of where it was me, Tracy, and God. And so I was like, God, you know, help me. And God has. And he sends angels and aliens and ascended masters to bring me to a place where there was nothing I could rely on other than I could no longer rely on the system. I couldn't be part of the system. I wanted out so badly, and I wish I had done it back in December, but the grace was just leaving as to anything part of the system. There was no grace on anything that was third dimensional. And so it's almost as if the more I was trying, the more grace was just leaving, because the earth had moved into 5-dimensional reality. And so with that, these things going on. And so I got to a point where I realized that I wanted to live my life.
Go ahead.
No, that's it. But
that's beautiful.
Elizabeth, could I come in real quick? Michael?
Real quick, and then...
Yeah,
Michael,
sure.
Congratulations. I mean,
Thank you.
That's the best testimony I ever heard from somebody coming in just new to this. And I want to thank you for that, because, you know, when people hear that type of testimony from a professional, can you imagine what it will do for other people to come out like that? So congratulations to you and your wife. Very, very good. Continue to do what you're doing, because, yes, we are moving into the 5th dimension. We're leaving the 3rd dimension. Those who want the old way, they can have the old way if they want that. But I don't want that. Very, very good. Congratulations, my friend.
Yeah, and we're not done yet, Captain. And by the way, yes, we're moving into the 5th dimension, but there's a little twist to it. We're quite not yet there. Our galaxy's there, but the Earth and Mars aren't quite there yet, and I'll explain it in a little bit. And okay, so Michael disengages, and this testimony, just like all our calls, Captain, everything is clicking together. If you remember this testimony, you guys, when we go into the other stuff, this is like a microcosm of Tracy and Michael, of the macro, of all of us going to happen soon, or is already happening. So then Michael disengages from being a lawyer, and just recently, and Michael, I say it was perfect timing. It was perfect timing. The energies pushed you out, the perfect timing. Anyway, so then Michael has this breakdown, and then I'll let you continue, Tracy. And then this is where the Law of One prayer comes in. So maybe, Tracy, then you can start where what happens, and Michael ends up at the hospital, and go from there. And then what happened, you called, and blah, blah, blah. Prayer
okay. One thing. Well, as we know, a lot of us are having, like, really deep personal issues be dealt with. For Michael, he had previously, for a number of years, been married to someone else, decided to quit, and it was really hard. So as he was trying to do it in his own strength, kind of felt the need to, at some point, he felt the need to go into the hospital. And it was good for him because I didn't really know how to react. I don't know anything really about drugs or anything like that. And so he went into the hospital, and for 9 days he ended up in a psych ward in this past couple of weeks, actually. And I didn't know how to react to that. I mean, suddenly we lose the business. Suddenly our bills are piling up. Suddenly we lose our place to live. And I talked to you, Elizabeth, because I've known Elizabeth for years. And as I've been awakening,
because I propose he unplugged from the system, the propaganda system, and the controllers didn't like it. But you guys persevered and you overcame. Continue the story.
And it was amazing because I called you, and then I called two other friends of mine that I knew understood what's happening in this awakening. They understood that these are good things that are happening, unplugging from the system. And so I called them and I called you, and right away, Elizabeth, I felt better because, I mean, when everything looks bad on the outside, it's actually good. And and so I was like, okay, this is a good thing. This is good what's happening, and I'm glad we're getting away from 3D, And so I was able to rest and sleep and everything, and I was able to then, after praying the Law of One with you.
Yeah. So let me just add, so Tracy calls me in distraught. Her husband's in the psych ward, mental ward. She doesn't know, and he just recently sat down, stepped down, decided to not be a lawyer, and then ends up in the psych ward. Oh, my God. And then she calls me, right? And so we pray the prayer of one. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. So we ask that only the highest good happen to all concerned. And we put in Michael and Tracy in the circle and their situations, and everybody's situation is the same around the world. We called in, the angels and the Ascended Masters and all that. And we prayed that prayer. The next day, Tracy calls me and says, "You won't believe what happened." So
it was amazing. After talking to you, Elizabeth, I'd also run into another friend of mine here that I'd got divinely hooked up with, who's a Reiki master, and I hadn't really hung out with her except 2 other times, but it was the right time. And she also did some Reiki on me before I went into the psych ward to meet with Michael after the second day of him being in there. Now, mind you, he hadn't had hardly any sleep, and I knew I was going in, and I hadn't had much sleep myself because of the fear and everything. But after the Reiki and talking to you, it was like just what I needed. It was like angels, aliens, whatever. They came to my aid, and just the right people in my life as we're unplugging from the system. And I went into the hospital totally feeling amazing. I could feel connected to Gaia. I could feel connected to the universe. I could feel love all over. I just felt so grateful, and I felt in me this needing to be grateful towards all humanity and just full of love because of the praying the prayer of the Law of One, and also the Reiki and being loved on. And so I decided I'm going to bring this love to these people and to this place and to my husband so he can remember who he is, because he used to be a minister, but he left even the church, and because he knew that really wasn't the way either, that we're coming into a great awakening of all people on earth, not just, a select group of people. So I came in, and as I shared with him, what was happening with me, he totally lit up, and he just, all of a sudden, change started happening. So I'll let him explain that, because he was inside there, and he's the one who really experienced that.
Yeah, it was a real humbling experience, but it was also awesome because, I never felt such love when Elizabeth, when you prayed the Law of One and you prayed that with Tracy, she came in with such light and with such love that the vibrational frequency was just increasing and increasing and increasing, because that's where we're headed, and we're moving towards a higher frequency vibration. And when we were together in the hospital, our love for one another was just radiating, and then our love for God was just radiating through the people. So I don't regret the world labeling me as crazy or labeling me as this or as that, because they wanted to try to
control.
Yeah, exactly. They wanted to assert control over the situation. And so there was a tremendous amount of control in that environment. But at the same time, light and love was higher than any kind of man-made system or man-made control to say, I'm going to, come against you, and I'm going to say, the system was literally screaming. The system was screaming. And so
right. Michael, you know what? Michael, you know what? Boy, I'm telling you, you got me so excited, because the reason why I'm really excited like this, because it's what you're saying. You're saying, and you're talking with clarity. You're speaking with so much love and clarity. People, please get ready, because a lot of people, just like Michael, are going to be released from the shackles. I'm telling you, it's coming. Michael is just one of them. Go ahead, Michael.
No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I've never been more full of joy and more excited about what the future brings, because I am out. I'm out of the system. I'm out of any type of man-made or demonic types of strongholds that hold people who have status, power, or wealth, and they will use all of that to try to come against our destinies or try to rob us of that destiny, and they can't. They can't, because we do not live by the same rules that they live by. Our guidance is based on a reality that's much, much higher than anything they can touch. And so it was only when I would get into fear, or I'd get into some sort of sense of feeling like the system still had hooks in me, or the system still was able to control me. And when I'd give into that, that's what would happen. It would manifest in something that wasn't good. And so what was so awesome about it is when Tracy would come in to visit me, and nobody even knew I was there. Nobody, other than a few close friends that Tracy talked to. Nobody even knew that I was there. And so, and I was in lockdown for 9 days. And I could tell you all about what happened in there, but the overall thing is that light and love triumphed over me. You know, I thought at one point they're going to keep me in here forever. I mean, am I ever going to get out? And fear would come upon me like, am I ever going to get out? And literally, by Tracy vibrating light and love, and by understanding that we're all one, and we all have a higher purpose, and that everybody, you're right, it's not just me, it's everybody is starting, everybody in positions that say no to the system, they're going to be propelled into five-dimensional reality. And so I've never been filled with more joy and hope and love, and just, I'm excited. I'm really excited. So anyway.
And Michael and Tracy, this is a micro. You are an example of just one person taking a free will stand and standing up and putting your hand up and saying, no more. I'm out of this propaganda, brainwashing, exploiting machine. And this, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, and this is a picture. This is why we stand up together in mass, because this earth, this universe, God has made us free will. So we have to exert our free will in mass before we can, in mass, be unplugged by the system. And I venture to say that that's the next trigger that will be coming up, and we pray that the mass standing up will happen, so then we can unplug from the system in mass and be turned right side out the way God's created us. And I am going to journey us through that journey today in detail, so you have the vision of what it's going to look like once we exert our free will in mass and unplug. Then what's going to happen? And I will paint that picture, and you guys will be excited. So let me go ahead.
I want to say, Elizabeth, to Tracy and Michael, congratulations, you two, because you're just the first of many couples or many singles who are going to walk the path of what is called the path of oneness. And not only that, you'll be going back to source, who you were originally when you first were born. So, you know, once again, you guys are nothing but love, complete love and understanding to share this. And Michael, especially you're very brave for coming on this program and telling your story, because this is outstanding. This lets you know you are headed in the right direction. Because like whenever you talk like this, you are releasing others from their shackles.
Yes.
God bless you.
And because we are all teachers, and we teach each other. And Captain and Michael and Tracy, oh my God, you even surprised me. because I thought you were just going to come on and give a testimony of the prayer of one, because we prayed that prayer of one when Tracy called me and all hell broke loose in your lives, and it turned out to be awesome. But not only that, this is what I was surprised at. You came on, told your testimony, and you're painting the picture of us unplugging from the system, and that's exactly what's going to happen next. That's a sign and a wonder. So I know God gives us hints before it happens. And he used you, Tracy and Michael, to give us a hint that this is about ready to happen, our mass unplugging from the system. And I'm going to paint that picture today. And let me tell you, vibrations, you guys, Michael and Tracy, I started crying when you guys first started talking. So I know this is a true thing, and I know this is you're vibrating all to us. Would you like to say anything else really quick?
I'd just like to say real quick, thank you, Captain. Thank you, Elizabeth, and everybody who came to the call today. One thing that I've discovered through all of this, or just a couple things I've discovered through all this, is it was just my ego that had to go, and I realized that it was all about love. I mean, it's just amazing how you discover it's all about love and love and unity and peace, and so it was really awesome. I know that there's going to be, much more changes happening to cause us to come to greater love and unity, and now it's easy to embrace it. That's all I wanted to say.
You're going to learn about that today, my dear. Thank you, Tracy and Michael.
I want to say thank you so much, Captain Elizabeth. I'm excited, and we're excited about sharing our testimony to people, because it's really good, because people need to know. They need to know what's going on. They need to know what's happening. And if you left the profession, everybody was confused as to what's going on and everything, and the world needs to know. And so as we all talk about it, we're all one, and sharing testimonies is really encouraging to people. So I thank you very much for giving us the opportunity.
Well, you're welcome, and I'm sure you guys will come back another time. And don't leave. Stay with the call, because you'll be even more excited.
Oh, I will. Yeah.
Thank you. Go ahead, Captain, or somebody wanted to say something.
Okay, yes. I just want to say this. For those who are not here today on the call, please spread the word and tell your friends and family to listen to the call that we had today. It is an outstanding testimony of two young people who find out that the system is not for them. It's just not. And they're going to find out that 3D is not where we should be at. And a good example was when the trial of the Zimmerman trial came out, and when they said that Zimmerman was not guilty. And what I know is all across America, there's a few pockets of people acting a little silly, but I'm going to say this. All across America, I saw young people, black and white, brown and red, standing together. And boy, the tears just came down. Are they waking up? Are they learning about how the system pit each other against each other? This is the true testimony. And here you got two young people coming on the call today. Love is the key. It's the key to everything. It's the key to the universe. It's the key to our existence. Amen and amen. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you.
Yes.
Young people just came on to give testimony. Tracy and Michael. Boy, you guys are awesome. Please don't ever, ever go away from that path, because the path is love. And continue to share it with everybody. Thank you, guys, for coming on. Thank you.
Oh, sure. We're excited. We've never felt more free in terms of sharing love with people and just encouraging others to be in their destiny. And if it makes people brave to say, okay, we're leaving the system, and regardless of the consequences, we're leaving. And we left, and it's the best decision in all eternity and in life. And for what's at stake, it pales in comparison to what you go into and in your destiny. So we're excited. Thank you again for giving us the opportunity, and we'll listen in.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we're going to hear more with your travels to Sedona and who you're going to meet up with, because I know, you know, and you'll share, I'm hoping. Thank you so much, guys. And by the way, this is reference show number 60, 60. And to get that, you would dial this number, 209-255-1099. They'll ask for the PIN, 883267#. Then it'll ask for a reference number. You dial 60#. It'll say, wait a minute, and you'll hear a pause. It'll go to this show, and you can listen to it. I'm going to try to post this phone call on the NESARA Blogspot News so people can come to this captain. It's very phenomenal, and we're just starting, you guys. You buckle your seatbelts some more, guys, because here we go. All right. Okay, just want to read a short couple sentences of the energies that was posted a couple days ago. Finalization of Earth portal connections into fully operational planetary grid are in process at this now moment. Such connections and couplings have been designed for new paradigm, multidimensional manifestations, and will be experienced by multiple light-aware and non-light-aware beings. It will be experienced by awake beings and non-awake beings across planetary surface, as well as throughout inner Gaia realms, inner Earth realms. What some might term mass awakenings will occur in due time. Yet for each individual human unit will manifest appropriately for their individual consciousness level. The might of the light will be seen at individual and mass levels and will not be deniable. Individual and mass higher density strengthening is experienced at this time, whether fully aware or not. Explosions of light are here now. And with that, we are becoming transfigured ones. We are becoming Christed ones. We are becoming energy masters. This is all the same thing, different wording, different language, but the same thing, transfigured. We're coming from a caterpillar being wrapped in a cocoon to a beautiful butterfly. Same thing. So we are energy masters. Michael Monk happens to be one of those energy masters, and they have a school teaching how to be an energy master. And there's other schools out there. But I'm just going to read a few things that he was given by God, by Prime Creator, and they're beautiful. So keep these in your heart and meditate. Think upon them. They're beautiful. Okay, number 1. When you find yourself with multiple opinions that all seem equally valid, you know you are becoming wise. When you find yourself with multiple opinions that all seem equally valid, you know you are becoming wise. And I'll add, because you know why, guys? You are limitless. And limitlessness is always changing. You can never learn everything. Once you think you come to the end of it, you go higher and learn deeper. And this is this phone call today. We're going to learn really deep. So fasten your seatbelts. Number 2 is, there is no such thing as a negative experience. All is love, and all is growth. There is nothing else. And wow, did we get a picture of that with Tracy and Michael's testimony. There is no such thing as a negative experience. All is love, and all is growth. There is nothing else. This is what God told Michael. in his growing state. Beautiful. Here's number 3. And we talked about this a couple calls back regarding, feelings and emotions are a zip file of information. Okay. There are no such things as facts, only feelings. A fact is just a story of how you came to feel a feeling. It's like feelings are the under or the creative structure of all events. And as humans, we are always chasing facts to feel a certain way about ourselves and our world. But it is really the feelings that create the facts. Try staying in the feeling of love and just watch as all the facts arrange themselves to suit the feeling. Wow. Tracy and Michael's testimony is about that too, I'm realizing. Wow, wow, wow. Number 4, most are not familiar with the broken heart, only the broken ego. In the broken heart, you will find wholeness. There is no higher love than of and for the self. Did you get that, you guys? There is no higher love than for yourself. It is a prerequisite to love yourself before anybody else. To truly loving others, you can only truly love another as much as you love yourself. Be a gift to the world. Did you get that, you guys? Work on loving yourself. Because you can only love another to the measure of how you love yourself. That is very profound. Okay, and regarding the feminine versus the male energies, we have prominent male energies here. We have for thousands of years. And this is part of the controller's plan to keep the male energies in and bring out the feminine energies. The male, I just want to just do a comparison because we're going to have both. We have both, and they're balancing out. The feminine are coming in with the male, and we're balancing out. So the male energies are prominently building or creating something external. The feminine energies, though, are talking about emotional feelings and the softer of the self, which is more receptive, which is the softer, which is more receptive. So we're going to be putting those together. We're going to be talking about our emotional feelings and feeling them and being more passionate and being transparent and more vulnerable and having the softer side of ourselves. And along with being co-creators, getting off the propaganda brainwashing machine, unplugging from it, and building and creating something external, creating and building something beautiful as the creators we are, going back to our real creativity, going back to the arts, unplugging from the busyness of the propaganda brainwashing work machine. Anyway, okay. I thought those were very profound. Now we'll go into the changes we're going to come to. All right. Oh, let me just first undo and let anybody in the audience come in if they have any testimonies on the prayer of one or just to share a minute or two. Hold on.
No.
Okay, now, if you start 6, you guys, if anybody wants to bring in a testimony of the law of one or the moving of the eyes or anything as Tracy and Michael were speaking, star 6 if you like. Okay. Well, let's continue then. Now, I'll leave you guys unmuted if you want to come in. All right. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm on okay. Captain, are you there? I hope I didn't lose everybody.
Hello?
Yes, you're fine, Elizabeth.
Okay, good. It's too important to lose everybody. Thank you.
Hello?
Guys. Yes.
I was going to say something about my daughter's husband. He worked for the Secretary of State, and he saw something bad. I don't know what he saw. But anyway, they let him out with $20,000, the retirement, and that he never could find another job. And for some reason or another, he was having spells. I think they must have tried to get rid of him over that, because he had blackout spells, and then he finally died a couple years ago. He was 59. Wow. I was almost 59.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Yeah. They started going to church, and they gave their hearts to the Lord, so they know, But they didn't know nothing about this and the Sarah or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, we're blessed to be alive at this time. And everybody, I just want to remind you that if you came to this call, your heart drew you here. This is a call. I know it is today.
My daughter will be happy that one day that she will be able to at least talk to her husband, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
My husband passed away February, and he was 83 years old. We cremated him because we couldn't afford, a real funeral. And right now he's sitting on the microwave. And I wonder, I had a dream one day that I saw him in the house, right after I heard about how you'd be able to talk to your husband. And I saw him as a young person. That's really something, huh?
It's something. And speaking of dreams, we're going to talk about those here coming up. Yes. See, everything hooks into it. Thank you, sister, for sharing that. What can I call you?
Shirley Ruby.
Oh, Ruby. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Thank you, dear.
God bless.
Yes, thank you. And by the way, talk about unplugging from the system. I wanted to add andrewbartsis.com. If you go there in the left-hand column, you look at, it's down at the left, you'll find something you click on. I forgot it was labeled, but it's the declarations that you can read out loud with your full heart and full passion, and you will spiritually unplug from this system. One of them's for the banking system, one of them's for the media, one of them's from the dream time, and other ones, and you'll see as I speak. So let me go into that. This is really good. I took 2 days out, and I took lots of notes here. And I'm just going to bring forth just a little sliver, and it's very significant, very deep today. But if you want to get the whole picture, I really, really encourage you. I did send it to the Sarah Blogspot, and they did post it. Like I said at the beginning, if you can't get on the computer, call me. We'll figure out somehow. Because this will prepare you for all what I'm telling you we're going to go into and what you already know. And it's actually your history, a true history. You can catch up, and there's going to be 30 hours of Andrew Bartsis coming out. He's named the Galactic Historian. He will have more detailed than this. And this is deep. I've listened to this 4 or 5 times, and every time I listen to it, I get something new out of it. So this will prepare you. It's labeled Awakening Deep Information That Will Help. There's 4 or 5 links, and they're in order. Listen to them in order. If you can't find it, call me, 612-715-8314, and I can send them to you on the computer or somehow. Or if you want to email diamonds with an S, diamondsforever31@yahoo.com, and ask for those links, I can mail them to you. All right. So this is just a snip, and the snip I took out of it is a picture of what we're about ready to go into.